I'm Fiona Robards. I'm a lecturer in sexual health, and I specialise in young people's health and health policy. And I'd like to acknowledge my co-authors. They're a part of the postgraduate program in sexual and reproductive health at the University of Sydney. I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. So a bit about the postgraduate program in sexual and reproductive health. It provides a diverse interprofessional curriculum suitable for Australian and international students interested in a range of disciplines related to HIV, STIs and sexual and reproductive health. So the postgraduate program has 5 pathways, and the 3 units that I coordinate are in the public health pathway, and they're the subjects that I'm going to talk about today. So the public health pathway is aimed at health professionals, policymakers, public health practitioners and educators wishing to gain knowledge in sexual and reproductive health. And so students come from a real range of professional and educational backgrounds. They can be mature students or recently graduated. They can be international and domestic students, and they come from a range of culturally diverse backgrounds. So these are the 3 units that I coordinate, and they've been reviewed over the past sort of 3 years. We're really just finishing off the adolescent sexual health, which is the current one, and running it now in semester 2, but previously worked on sexual and reproductive health promotion and sexual health and relationships education. What was included in the review? We looked at the course description, the learning objectives, the course content and the assessments to ensure constructive alignment. And we use competency frameworks to conduct a gap analysis to identify missing content, as well as feedback we'd received via the student surveys, and then assess the results to measure via student satisfaction to look at the introduced changes. So this is really the key thing I want to talk about, which is professional competency frameworks, of course, outline the competencies needed for professionals and can include knowledge, skills and attitudes. So core competencies for professionals can be used for a range of purposes, such as competencies assessments, job descriptions, mentoring and coaching, training and workforce development planning. So here we're using the competency frameworks to review curricula. However, the big challenge for us is that professional competency frameworks for sexual and reproductive health were unavailable. So what to do in this situation? Well, we need to sort of cobble together frameworks from other countries. We use multiple frameworks in a hybrid model. And we needed to consider the broader health care competency frameworks within a more specific context of sexual and reproductive health. So you can see the competency frameworks that were used here focused on public health and adolescent health rather than on sexual and reproductive health more specifically. And some were international in focus. So the public health competencies were used to review all the units because we're part of the public health stream. We also use the New South Wales and the WHO competencies in adolescent health to review the adolescent sexual health unit. And we use the European WHO document to review sexual health and relationships education, which was very helpful. So some of the results, the review did identify gaps in the course materials and as well as, feedback from the students and suggested new learning objectives and areas for tailored content development and assessment. So some of the examples of new content that we added in sexual health promotion, we added content on international frameworks. In relationships education, sexual health and relationships education, we added content on attitudes for sexual health educators, which is hugely important, of course. And in adolescent sexual health, we added content on diversity and promoting access to healthcare. And having a look at the student satisfaction survey scores prior to the review and post the review. So I've just posted the means there. You can see that there is a bit of a shift in the right direction, and adolescent sexual health, we'll see how that does at the end of this semester when we run it for the first time with the reviewed content. So the conclusion really is that professional competency frameworks are useful as a complementing tool to review and update curriculum. However, flexibility may be needed when those specific locally relevant professional competency frameworks are not available. So the big so what here is that we've identified that locally relevant competency standards for sexual and reproductive health really could and should be developed. And I guess the next challenge is really to identify how to progress this as a project. Thank you. I think I've got references here, which are the 4 competency frameworks, and my contact. Thank you.